Hello, friends. Happy Friday. I hope you're all doing well. It's good to be back. It's been a couple of weeks and I missed you. I also forgot a few things. So, yes, Tim, I've been gone for 2 weeks and I've already forgotten. And yes, Doug, the pre-electricity arrival had something to do with it, but it's good to be back. Got the Matches Memorial Friday Savinelli with some Haunted Bookshop, as is tradition, and really looking forward to chatting with you all tonight. So let's see, we got Gary Edminster, Doug Owen, the Urban Hermit. Hey Everett, how's it going? There's Yornik. Yes, Yornik, I was involved in some sorcery there. Tim Fournier, Big Dave, good to see you, Big Dave. Farmer Fox, ha ha ha. Jeffrey Feinberg, Todd Monson, Bona Piper, happy Friday, Christian, Signalman Tony, Lord Hogarth, Michael Case, thank you, Michael, it's good to be back, and Taciturn Richard, thank you, Richard. Yes, it was a nice couple of weeks, spent the first one with my darling wife, and we did some stuff, and just nothing exciting, nothing story worthy or anything, but just enjoyed ourselves. And then last week I was up in Vermont with my brother and sister and helped them out with some work on the house up there, and just kind of relaxed and had fun. Watched the Phillies win the wild card with my brother, which was great. And of course they've moved on again, so yeah, Phillies in the playoffs, amazing. But what were we gonna do? It's good to hear you're doing okay there, Everett. Hang in there, buddy. Stanley Smith. Hello, Stanley, and Flint Hill Briar. John's making me put my glasses on, but he's first time here, so I have to do it. John Suffel. Good to see you, John. Welcome. It's good to have you, my friend. There's the Hillbilly Piper. How you doing, Donnie? Good to see you too, Jeffrey. Phil Rivera, how you doing, Phil? You know what, Christian? She'd probably say the same thing. It was nothing all that exciting. I mean, the biggest thing we did was went out to dinner. But with the realization that we had been married for 25 years, that was exciting. That was a good thing. Yes, Diamondbacks on Monday. I had, perhaps foolishly, I had confidence that they were going to beat the Braves. I don't know about the Diamondbacks. Kev Zeeb, hello. Good to see you. It is 13th, or it's Friday the 13th, and we got the beginning of spooky season, I've decided. Wilma Betty or the Great Kazoo? Oh, Tim. Unpredictable indeed, Doug. Yeah. Yeah, he surprised me. So Phil reminded me when I saw him pop up. I was reaming pipes. I was doing a little maintenance reaming here uh, before I started to fail to get things set up on time, and I was using my Phil Rivera triangular reamer, which I really love. This is just a fantastic tool to do light maintenance reaming. It's not something you want to use for restoring an estate or something, but if your own pipes, it works really well. And I was thinking, it's really cool that Phil made this, and someday if I ever design a reamer of my own, which I'm not going to do because there's only so many ways you can ream a pipe, and I think they've all probably been designed. But if I ever designed my own reamer, I want to name it Uncle Remus. So I just thought I'd just came through my head. I thought I'd share that with you. Yeah, 3 firsties tonight. I should take a couple weeks off more often, huh? Piper on the 45. How you doing there, Piper? And Hillbilly Piper, wife said it's fall now for me. Fix me some fish chowder. Ha! Well, there you go. And you're off to shots. Gotcha, Donnie. Saturday the 14th sounds like a movie title. Huh. Should be. No, not Uncle Reamer. I want to actually say Remus. I'd probably get sued by Disney, though, Doug. Happy birthday, Michael. 75. Wow, what an accomplishment. Now I gotta put my glasses on because I can't read the whole thing. And you mean I was 50 when you... Yes, Michael, I guess that is true. But look on the bright side, I was 30-something when I got married, so... Oh no! Christian had insomnia and therefore there's a pipe on the way. I would probably get reamed by Disney. There is a Saturday the 14th movie, Tim. I know, of course, that there's Friday the 13th movies. I'm not under that big of a rock, but... I was watching last night, Eric, Blue Collar Pipe Smoker, put out a Halloween video where he gave his suggestions for Halloween tobaccos, most of which were awful. Sorry, Eric. And he had some Halloween pipes and suggestions for Halloween movies, and I thought it was funny. I mean, Eric and I like similar movies, and of course several of the movies that he mentioned I agreed with fully, but then he had a bunch of movies I had never heard of, because I do live under a rock. And he ended with Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, which I thought was just the worst possible choice for a Halloween movie. I do not like that movie. White Ash Piper Squared, boo to you, sir. It's good to know, Tim. I probably won't bother doing that then, because if nothing happens, nothing happens. Bunch of small rocks work as well as one large rock, indeed. Oh, Barling Poker. Sounds nice, Christian. Armchair Piper. How you doing, Ed? Good to see you, buddy. The Day After the Night Before. There's a movie title. Paul Johnson. Hello. Voodoo Queen and a Dagner Rhodesian. Nice. Frankenstein Meets the Werewolf. There's a movie. Hey, Backcountry Piper. How you doing, Mark? Oh, Big Dave. You brought it up, buddy. I didn't say the GP phrase. But that would be quite a Halloween tobacco, wouldn't it? I would smoke that one even if it wasn't aromatic. Cat sounds horrific. Yes, John, I agree. Ron Hardcrackers, how you doing, buddy? Everett's going to light up some haunted bookshop in a 7LA Oscar Tiger 673. Sounds nice, Everett. Ennerdale and a Canadian. There you go, Flint Hill. And Ennerdale's an interesting blend. And then I said then. There you go, Tim. Yeah, Kev, that's one of the ones I hadn't seen, Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp. Oh, Jeff Furness, so sorry to hear that, buddy. I hope the surgery went well or goes well and you're back to pipe soon enough. Turn Stonehenge Flake up to 11. Ah, Tim, that's semi-obscure. I like it. The Return of the Curse of the Werewolf meets Frankenstein's son. Son of Frankenstein, Part 2. Steve, did I forget you? I'd never forget you, Steve. Steve Russell. Sorry if I missed you, buddy. Lord of the Prepositions. There you go, Flint Hill. That's a great way to celebrate a raise. And buy it now before you know what the raise is. This way you don't have to justify it afterwards. Like, just assume it's going to be a really big raise and buy whatever pipe you want. Trust me, you'll be happier in 5 years. Yeah, Doug, I know both those. I don't know those blends, but I know they make a pumpkin spice and a candy apple. I might have tried the pumpkin spice, not by choice, but somebody gave me a sample and I tried it. Well, I guess it was by choice, but I didn't buy it. I didn't seek it out. That's what I guess I should have said. It was bad. But there's very few. I shouldn't say it was bad. I didn't like it, but there's very few aromatics I like. So. I'm the same way, Yornik. It's very hard to take, especially modern horror movies. I find them to be quite funny. Um, One of the reasons I don't like them. I like the older atmospheric ones, the old Hammer movies, but they never scare me. Even when I was a kid, they didn't scare me. Steve, are you saying I always do forget you? I hope not. I'm gonna start each show now saying hello to Steve Russell. 2023, A Smoke Odyssey. There's a movie. Yeah, Christmas Spice isn't that great either. Black Spice is not a bad blend, and I think that's something. That's not terrible. Yeah, Tim, that's one way to get a raise. You bought 2 OMS estate pipes, Everett. That is a problem. Brian Woodward, hello. Well, Steve, I will fix that. I am sorry. It's certainly not intentional. I do try. It's a lot of names and it's hard sometimes. Hello, Sailor. And it's easier now that things have slowed down. The beginning can be quite tough. Danish maid Stanwell with Shandy Gap. Nice. Warm October evening. Yeah, I think our warm evenings are gone. In the 40s this morning when I got up. Yeah, John, those were some good movies. Peter Cushing ones I particularly enjoy. So you got to put it in your neighbor's trash bin. That's the most enjoyable way. Haven't seen the Candyman movies, Yornik. Well, that's both creepy and funny, Ron. Yes, Doug. The imagination is always much more terrifying than anything they can put on film. You know, Everett, I've heard a lot of people say they like the corncob pipe and a button nose. I've never tried that one. No, I did try that one. Actually, I think Christian, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you sent me a sample of that once, um, and it was good. Yeah, I did like that. Oh, backcountry pipe. Thanks for asking. The lecture went fine. Yeah, it's usually a lot of fun. They're I say kids, but they're actually college students, and they tend to be pretty engaged in this class. They're fairly advanced students by the time I see them, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. They had some good questions. Well, I was talking about recording brain activity with EEG electrodes, which they do routinely in hospitals and stuff. If you ever have to get your brain checked for something. And one of the students asked me, and he very sincere, asked me if it would be possible to do that and read people's thoughts, which I had to somehow turn into an answer that made them feel like they had asked and it wasn't an unreasonable question, but in the moment it just struck me as being kind of a funny question. So that was the most challenging part of the whole thing. But I managed to get through that okay. Hey, Couch, give the dingo a pet for me. You sent me a whole tin there, Christian? Okay, well, then I must have really enjoyed it because I don't have a tin. I must have smoked it. So, okay, then corncob pipe and a button nose is good. I thought that was the one you put into a card in a little packet, but maybe that might have been Founding Fathers. I don't know, my memory's failing me, but it was good. Rich B1, good evening, and Smarty Bob. Happy Friday the 13th to you, sir. Brian Woodward bought a new old stock tub of Carter Hall. Wonder if it's possible to date it. I've not seen anything on the tubs that would let you date them. Maybe somebody knows better than I do. Dry Fly Fisher 11, how you doing, my friend? Kev wants to know, yes or no, smoke 3 bowls in a new, not broken in pipe in one day. Everett, do you want to take that question? I'm teasing. Everett's famous for his pipe abuse of a new pipe, but I do the same thing. I smoke a new pipe several times a day until it's broken in. I actually I have a table upstairs next to the chair I sit in when I'm watching TV, and if I get a new pipe, it stays on that table because I'll smoke it every day, sometimes multiple times a day until I feel like it's broken in. I know that's a no-no in a lot of people's opinion, but it's worked for me for 30 some years. So, but you got to do you. and karaoke. That I did see that movie, and that is funny. Couch I can, but I don't think Ilva would like it very much. Jubs McGee, hello there. Wants to know if anybody's heard anything about the 2023 Kringle Flake. He heard it's the same as last year, but with Catarini added. I do not know anything about it, but maybe somebody else can. Howard and Piper might have some information on the Carter Hall date, and Big Dave saying Google search the tax stamp. Tim, I don't know what to do with that. John Suffle's going to light up some Jubilee blend in a Savinelli Roma Rustic. Sounds good, John. Flint Hill tried Mixture 79 and found it interesting. Yeah, that's what most people say the first time. We're not voting yet, Big Dave. Kevin Doolan, Smoking the Haunting by Cornell and Deal. Nice. And Ocho Ida, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Left all disappointed. Okay. Yeah, Doug, that's a good point. It does depend on the pipe. There are some pipes that you probably should rest. And that fog thing with Pyramid Head sounds terrifying, Yernick. White Ash, I haven't even heard of exclusive C&D. Todd Munson's got Seattle Pipe Club plum pudding, and he doesn't know if he likes it or not. I could understand that, Todd. So I got to do show and tell. I do want to make this the start of Halloween because, as I said in the, if you saw the, what do they call that? The not the comments, the description. I decided that I'm going to start Halloween now before Hallmark starts Christmas. So, fair enough. So I already have my spooky lighter. Halloween pipe will come out the week before. You all saw the Frankenstein tamper before, and I've also got the Skull and Bones tamper here for when it gets down to the bottom of the bowl and I can't reach. So Halloween has started, and my darling wife bought me a very nice Halloween, not Halloween gift. I gotta be really careful. It was actually an anniversary present, but it's perfect for Halloween. And she actually commissioned this. With the promise of commissioning additional. You ready? Isn't that cool? It's Lugosi framed in a coffin, got some bats above his head. I love that. I don't know where it's going to get hung yet, but will that work? Yeah, that'll work. I'll try to stay out of his way. So the person that did that goes by Kelly Marie's Art, and she's on Instagram at ghostkae.art. I'll put that up if you want to take a look. She does a lot of I've been following her on Instagram. Sorry, my hand's shaking. She does a lot of really cool stuff. A lot of horror type art, but some more, pop culture type stuff. You can see she's got a Poe thing there. Another Frankenstein of sorts, a cartoony Frankenstein. She does some really cool stuff. So I highly recommend you check her out. That's ghostkae.art on Instagram. And yeah, I love it. And the plan is to get another one with Karloff and possibly a Svengoolie. So we will see. Glad you guys like it. Big Dave, I do think Bayless still looks like that, except he has a stake in his heart. And yes, if I can ever get around to putting up the I Hate Roger Goodell sticker. Problem with that, Tim, is it's going to take up half the wall. In the bed. Michael, that's mean. You're remembering the balloon story. Was it Ochoita that asked about the red Virginia flake with Perique? Yeah, I've had it. I like it. It's a good vapor. But I agree with what Rich B1 said. I think it'll get much better with age. Bill Rivera wants to know why no one's made a tobacco blend called Hakakore, hidden by the leaves. An interesting name. Another epiphany. Have to get wife. Ooh, the Art of War. Yes, indeed. Oh, Doug, that's terrible. I heard a different version of that. It was why did Captain Kirk pee on the ceiling? And the punchline was because he wanted to boldly go where no man had gone before. No, Tim, I have not tried that. Is that really a thing? One-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater flake? Or are you just trying to put a song in my head? It was an earwig. Okay, Tim. Ah, it's a Japanese book. Okay, Phil. I'm not familiar with it, but is it like a novel or is it a something more philosophical, Buddhist, something like that? Ah, Doug, I believe it. I just started rereading the Tao Te Ching. Um, so I've been on a Asian philosophy slash religion kick. Something I was interested in for a long time in comparative religious studies. So that might fit in well right now, Phil. Pondering with Pepe's Pipes. How you doing, my friend? No problem being late. Eating a meal with a friend who was a B-2 bomber? I can't read. Don't got the number right. B-25 bomber. Oh, Tim, that's going too far. That's true, Michael. Sometimes you just can't be shocked. Hey, Patrick Grant, how you doing, my friend? Oh, okay, Phil. Well, I might enjoy that. Thank you for bringing it up. Prime ribs, good stuff, Pepe. Flint Hill Briar's recommending the snow leopard. Glad to hear it, Pepe. Well, I'm almost out of Haunted Bookshop. Not out of Haunted Bookshop. The pipe's almost done. Although, I did want to show you this. Back when I started the tobacco of the week thing, I was going through about a pound of Haunted Bookshop in a month. And I know it was more than a month ago that I started that. It was probably about 6, maybe 7 weeks ago. And this is the pound of Haunted Bookshop I opened that day. Hello. No, I don't agree with everything, but he's an interesting fellow for sure. Any day is a good day for Mad Fiddler Flake. I'm sure that was an interesting conversation, Pepe. Ah, thank you, Phil. I will definitely check that out. What's a good method to clean a rusticated rim? Asked Todd Lunson. Todd, the best thing I found is Murphy's oil soap, the original Murphy's oil soap, and a toothbrush. You put the oil soap on, let it sit for a little bit, and then you can get the toothbrush a little bit wet and scrub it. The problem is you're gonna very likely take some of the stain off. And if you don't want to do that, then you're just going to be stuck picking at it with a toothpick or something. There's not really a lot you can do that's not going to take some of the stain off, though. More Bushido than Zen. Okay, Phil. Still interesting. There you go. Doug Owens got your rusticated rim cleaning solution. It may work better, it may work worse, but it's going to be more fun because you get the Glenfiddich. Yeah, Everett, apparently there are people that have... I know someone that has clean cake-free pipes. All right, we're gonna do something a little different. Well, not a little different. Not very different at all, really. But so it's the time for the tobacco of the week, and I've got something a little different. I've got this. This is a box of small amounts of tobacco in these little jars. I don't know what's in here. I haven't really looked at it. They're labeled, but I don't have my reading glasses on, so I can't even see the labels. These are things that people sent me years and years ago, and I didn't want to smoke them at the time, and I just stuck them in a jar to keep them, and I don't honestly remember what's in this box. So I'm going to just randomly pull 3 of these things out. I'm going to let you vote on which one. I'm not even looking as I pull. I'm trying to... If I pick out 3... I'm trying to... If I pick out 3 Lotta Kia blends, I'm going to be really upset. It'll be fine. Fall's a good time for some Lotta Kia, right? Okay. Let's see. White Ash Piper stepped in Bushido once. It's not good. They did have a very distinct mindset, Phil. Yes, very, very different. Glad to hear he's holding his own there, Everett. Okay, so what do we got here? Oh, well, that's not a bad one. So we got some Germain's Brown Flake. This was put in the jar in 2015. I don't know how old it is. It was probably a few years old at the time. So Germain's Brown Flake, that's number 1. Hearth and Home Frenchie's Russolette. And Savinelli Brunel Flake from the same year. This must have been a, yeah, this was a Brother of Briar bombing event where they sent me a bunch of tobacco. So that's probably what most of those jars are, actually. So we got the Brunel Flake. I don't remember what that is, but it's a Savinelli Brunel Flake. We got the Frenchie's Sons of Bitches, which I do not remember what that is, but it's got a nasty sounding name. And we got the Germain's Brown Flake. What are we going to pick for the tobacco of the week? So we got a vote for Germain. We got a vote for Sunza. Mike didn't say Rustica. 2 for Germain. 3 for Brown Flake. 1 for Sunza. 1 for Brunello. Another one for Germain. That's up to 4, I think. 2 for Frenchie. 1 for Savinelli. 2 for Savinelli. Another one for Brown Flake. It's 5. 6 for Brown Flake. 7, 8. I think Brown Flake's running away with it. There's 9 for Brown Flake. We're only up to 3 or 4 for Frenchies. 10 for Brown. Okay, we're going to stop it there. We got the Brown Flake. We'll put the other ones back. I know there's a couple things I put in here because I just didn't want them. So this can be fun. And I will try not to overreact to those when I take them out, because I don't want you to not pick them because you think I'm going to be in pain. Although, knowing you folks, you would probably relish in that. So that's what we got. It does have some... By the way, if any of these wind up being actually moldy, I'm not going to smoke them. No. This does have some bloom on it, which some folks would call sugar crystals, but it's not. It's mold, but it's safe mold. If any of them are green, I'm not going to smoke them. And we're going to put this in the Talbert Squat Bulldog. And if anybody wants to educate us on what's in Jermaine's brown flake, I believe it's mostly Virginia and some burley. Smells like mostly Virginia and some burley. I'm going to do my usual, just roll it up and stick it in. Chubbs McGee, I think you're right about the cigar shops starting that whole sugar thing. It may be an adventure, Yornik, but I hope you're wrong about the contents there. Ah, Mrs. CaneRod is chiming in. Kelly made Boris. She must mean Bella. So she did not commission Bela. That was pre-made. Okay, but she's going to commission the other one. She needs to order the coffin frames. And yes, she does have cool stuff. So check out her page. Definitely. And if anybody else wants to know where the Bela in the coffin came from, it's Kaylee Marie. It's Virginia tobacco. Tastes like a Virginia burley, yeah. Sweet. Last year's Kringle Flake is wonderful, but it smells like a turd in a jar. Well, that's a ringing endorsement, Flint Hill. Yeah, well, it was just... Thank you, Yornik. Thank you, Yornik. I'm glad someone has finally explained that. Why are you asking what happened, Michael? All is fine here. I don't know what YouTube's doing, but everything that I have here is telling me that the stream is healthy and everything is fine. So I'm sorry that you're having that problem, but it wasn't a vacation, Tim. It was visiting family. Hey guys, I don't know what to tell you. The Everything is fine here. I'm sorry that it's doing that, but it's YouTube, not me. Going while I'm buffering. Doug is saying that his Jermaine Brown flake is straight Virginia. Could be, Doug. I can't say I detect a lot of burley in this, but it's definitely deeper and more earthy than what I would expect from a straight Virginia. But then again, it's aged quite a bit, and I believe it was steam fermented, so could just be Virginia. I know what you were doing there, Tim. I know. Definitely could be a red Virginia. Yeah. It's nice. It's very smooth. No tartness to it at all. Nice and deeply sweet. But this was, what year did I say? This was 2015. So if we assume it was new when I got it, that's what, 8 years? It may or may not have been new when I got it. All right, John. So Phil, thanks for joining us. I hope to see you again, buddy. Has anyone had five brothers before? Absolutely, Ohio Sweet Muffin Mafia Piper. Got to come up with a shorter version of that. Um, yeah, it's a great blend. I love it. Great burley blend. You have to you have to pack it hard though. Pack it much harder than you normally would because it burns very fast. That thin shag cut. Why are we here and not at the Vegas pipe show? Because we didn't get a travel budget. Pipes of old. We're teaching CPR. Good try, Steve. I don't know if it'll work, but you've got Burley as a good friend, Tim. Yes. I don't know, brutal enough. I don't actually recognize you, so I'm really glad you turned up. You know, there's different bubbles of people on in the YTPC, and sometimes they intersect. So I'm glad you found us. Glenn Hill was in Vegas 3 weeks ago, so you got there too early. No, Doug, Five Brothers is not by Ryan and Daughters, but it's kind of that consistency and that dry. Unshackled Spirit, how you doing, buddy? We still got 30 minutes or so to go. Oh, I found you. Okay. Could be brutal enough. I have not had a lot of time for watching videos. I might have came upon you and subscribed you and then it fell out of my head. So my apologies for that. It's been a busy time here the past couple of weeks. Been running crazy, traveling and stuff. So Rich B1, I always like Burley advice here. Boswell's Old School and Cornell Deal Red Burn Kick. I don't think I've had either of those. I'm going to have to put those on the list, Rich B1. What did I think of the sphere? I'm not sure what you mean, White Ash Squared. Tim Nudd, good evening. You can't be late. Just in time. Oh, I love Briar Fox on Shackled Spirit. That's good stuff. No, Doug, sadly I didn't have time for any fishing. I saw some great spots, but I didn't get to wet a line at all. Patrick, that low country natural Virginia Burley is a wonderful blend. Okay, White Ash. Tim's forever blowing bubbles. Are they tiny bubbles, Tim? That's how you do it, Pipes of Old. Nick, that does sound good. Anything that tones down Old Dark Fire is good in my book. Indeed, Ochoita, they are making it interesting. Although I have to admit, I'm a little bit worried about this next series. Yeah, Doug and Rich, Redburn does sound like an unfortunate name for a blend, but I'm definitely going to look into that. You can still see Lawrence Welk on public television. He comes on, at least here he comes on, I think, Sunday nights. Not that I watch it or anything. Sounds like a couple of good bowls there, Tim Nudd. Anybody remember Kentucky Club Mild? I never had it, brutal enough. Oh, he wasn't that bad, Michael. Sounds very coincidental, Yornik. Tim, are you polkaing away? Polkaing into the night? You know, Tim, I didn't think anything. Oh, Doug. You were just too early. If you waited around until the Weird Al Yankovic days, you could have picked up girls like crazy with that accordion. Maybe not. Yes, Doug, there is a reason. Tim, I think you're right. Vanoska, hello. Tips on adding pipe mud to his meerschaum. I think you mean Missouri meerschaum because he says. Yes, the circle of life versus the circle of death. You don't want to get those two confused. All right, brutal enough. Thanks for joining us tonight. It was nice seeing you. Just to make the evening complete, the furnace has come on. You guys have told me it's not too terrible, so I'm not turning it off this winter just to keep the wife happy. That's true, Tim. When we talk about Mrs. Howe, we never have problems. Really, Doug? D, G, and A7? Even I can play those three. The F was my nemesis. Gary, we're bringing up Diana Riggs. I love it when we bring up Diana Riggs. Ah, Yornik. Kate's a wise woman. Yeah, I've tried the thumb over the neck for the F. It never worked for me. Just wasn't meant to play the guitar. A cracked mirror, Gary? That's unfortunate. I never, even when I was doing pipe repairs, I didn't do anything with meerschaum other than replace tenons. Um, what's his name? What's Rick's company? Briar. Oh, what the heck is Briarville? Briarville. He's got some experience with meerschaum pipes. So check out briarville.com. You could try plaster. It depends on how big the crack is. That's usually what I recommended to people that like wanted to raise the ball of a meerschaum pipe or something like that. But I've never done it myself. Learn to play the dulcimer. That's one instrument I haven't tried, Michael. I'm okay on, well, I haven't played it in years, but I'm okay on the mandolin. Um, and Chop does. Perhaps he picks up hippie chicks. I don't know. Circle of Living Dead. There you go, Jeffrey. That would. Oh, creator of the boundless universe. That can be difficult to fix. It just depends on how the tenons are put in, both the stem and the mirror, because sometimes they're screwed in which case you got a problem. I was going to say you're screwed, but I thought it was silly. Um, if the one in the stem is just glued, it can sometimes be heated up and turned. But I'd suggest you send those out. And again, Briarville is probably the best option for meerschaum. Very slowly, Lord Oak. Chris Kerstetter. Yes. Good words to certainly live by. Oh, Gary. This is true, Tim. It is a transitional state. That is unfortunate, creator. Yeah. It's good. Very good, very deep, sweet Virginia. Oh, how's the B? The B is probably for brown. I was thinking Brunello. Never mind. You're a lucky man, Lord Hogarth. Hey, Ghost Cobb. How you doing, Sean? Good to see you, buddy. So I've got a question for the hardy soul still remaining as we head into the last 10 minutes here. I'm thinking, I'm not making any promises here, but I'm thinking about doing a Halloween special. Um, special Halloween video like I used to do on movies and such. And I got a simple question for you. I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't want to give away what the theme of the thing would be, but in your opinion, is Godzilla a horror movie? Oh, Steve. Sorry you're having so much trouble, buddy. I see Steve saying no. I was thinking about this today, and honestly, I sci-fi thriller, no. Monster movie like King Kong, okay. So then, buy that a Japanese sci-fi, okay. So I can see your point, but let me ask you this question then. Most people are saying no. If you're Japanese, it is yes. Okay. Most people are saying no. It's a monster movie, but that's a horror movie. Monster movies are horror movies. So is Frankenstein a horror movie then? Because I don't see a great deal of difference between Frankenstein and Godzilla. Unshackled Spirit saying yes. I get that it's a kaiju movie. I'm just asking how if you could put it in the same class as Frankenstein. Oh, I'd like to have a fancy monocle eunuch. Creature from the Black Lagoon's another good example, Steve. Is that horror or is that sci-fi? You got to ignore the zippers, Bill. Willing suspension of disbelief. I think the genre of horror is just very poorly defined and has changed over the years. So I guess if I wanted to include Godzilla and Frankenstein in the same bucket, I could call them monster movies. That's true, Flint Hill. Poe is much more aligned with what we consider horror today. Everett, that's a horror I don't even want to think about. Creature features. There you go, Tim. Because I didn't realize when I was asking the question, but this opens up a whole can of worms. You know, there's things like the giant Gila monster and tarantula and, you know, all the giant bug movies. I don't know what category you put those in. Other than giant bug movies and giant lizard movies, I guess you could start to really chop it up like that. There you go. Google thinks it's a horror movie. Thank you, Brian Woodward. Hey, the internet doesn't lie, right? Yeah, Phil, those modern definitions are certainly loose. I really don't like the Abbott and Costello crossovers, White Ash, but I have a real problem with Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein. Attack of the Mushroom People. That's a bad movie, Gary. So horror requires a twisting of the human condition, says Doug. So then, Doug, you wouldn't say the giant tarantula is a horror movie. Eric, the blue collar pipe smoker, how you doing, buddy? We're just talking about whether or not Godzilla is a horror movie, and if not, why is Frankenstein and the creature from the Black Lagoon considered horror? No, Tim, it's 42. Yes, it is like that, Rich, when Scooby Doo started having guests. Yeah, but Phil, I don't think I've ever actually been frightened by a horror movie. I think we fool ourselves into that. Santa Claus versus the Men from Mars. That's a scary movie indeed, too. Attack of the Pod People. Attack of the Regular People. There you go, Yornik. Hotel Hell. Okay, so you're leaving a category of monster movie out there. Okay, Doug. But I would say that Frankenstein, the Wolfman, they could be monster movies as well. So they would be horror slash monster movies in your opinion, I'm guessing. Well, he's closer to the human experience than a 300-foot lizard, Phil, if you're not a resident of Tokyo. So Eric's saying horror slash monster. Godzilla versus Bambi would be a very short movie, old Uncle Mike. That's true, Phil. If you mute the soundtrack, it's usually a lot less frightening. No, The Ring is a rather well-made horror movie despite not having a... Well, it makes up for its lack of giant lizards somehow. Okay. That's right, Eric. They are considered universal monster movies. Yep. Attack of Captain Black Grape is a horror movie for Smarty Bob. That's right, Phil. The average height is a bit lower there. Is that true, Eric? So Karloff didn't like horror movie. He preferred terror pictures. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Well, folks, the Jermaine Brown Flake was very nice. I'm looking forward to enjoying that this week, so thank you for the choice. And we shall finish up the Jamesons as I bring this to a close. Yeah, Phil, I think terror is broader, so it does allow for more room for interpretation there and avoids this, silly balkanization of films into, what we were doing just now, trying to divide them up. So I like terror. Karloff was a smart man. Thank you for that, Eric. Anyways, great seeing you all. Thank you for joining me tonight. I enjoyed the heck out of it, as I do every Friday. High point of my week, and I missed you the last 2 weeks. I'm really glad that we're back at it. So with that, folks, I'm going to say goodnight. We'll be back next Friday. I'll have a video on Sunday, and maybe something else in between. We'll see. Take care, all. Have a great weekend.